Hi, it's Matt from Tabletop Games, and in this video we're going to look at the first part of using tools inside of Maya. So let's get started.
Because at the moment we just had a look at the parameters and how you put those in the scene, and they're very primitive. That was no pun intended there. But you have to then use tools inside of Maya to create detail in these projects. So I'm just going to set my project. Now, this project that I'm showing you is kind of work in progress for Tabletop Games. We're doing some experimentation inside of Unreal 4 for our next project. We're just seeing, plus I'm from an Unreal background and I haven't used Unreal for a couple of projects now, so I wanted to get back into it. So if I just go to here, Tabletop Games, Qualia, just set this, and then if I open it, I'm not going to save that. Okay. So this is my Maya scene, and now I've already modeled this desk. You'll notice it on the intro video inside of Unreal 4, and I'll show you what it looks like in Unreal 4 at the end of this series. And it was based off this desk. So I always model from kind of reference. So it's kind of based off this desk, but I added, I didn't have the gap here, and I added a second one here for it. And it's pretty bog standard. We have the chest of drawers here. We have this here. And you'll notice as well that there's not many hard edges. You'll notice that there's kind of small bevels on here, and I'll show you the bevel tool in this next set of videos. And if I deconstruct this, so if I hold Shift, right mouse button, and go to separate, what the separate button, the tool, does is it allows you to separate an object that you've combined. So this was combined because it's gone into the engine and I need it combined. But if you notice that if I just select all this, left click, select, go history, freeze, and just center it. You notice if I pull these drawers, whoopsie, there you go. You'll notice that there's an actual drawer inside of there. It's a very small drawer. Don't know why I did it that small. But yeah, so if we wanted to, we could put stuff inside of here, and then the player could interact with this and pull it out. And there's a couple of ways you could leave it not combined and bring them in individually, and then do it all in Unreal, or you could create a bone system, rig it so that, and then yeah, have animations for it. Just going to put that back. But this started life as a square, so I just created the square like this, and to get that kind of draw, if I pull this out, sorry, this is, just bear with me a minute, it's really annoying me. There we go, it's a bit better. So to begin with, to get this square, this bit here, I wanted to use, I could use an extrude. So if I select this face, so right mouse button face, I can go Shift, so select the face, Shift, right mouse button, extrude face. And if I press R on the keyboard, I can get the scale. Make sure you don't select any other faces when you do this. So let's try that again. Scale. I can get that edge bevel there, that edge. And then if I extrude again, I can start to build this draw. Now, one of the things that you can see here is that you're going to repeat the tool quite a lot. So for example, if I select the face and go hit G on the keyboard, that repeats the last tool I used. And again, I'm just going to move the pivot so I'm above the thingy. And then this, so that's the Extrude Tool, and with the Extrude Tool we can do other stuff as well, so you don't have to just always go inwards, we can actually extrude like this. Okay. And yeah, so that's the Extrude Tool. Like I said, you can use it for a lot of things, whether it's in or out. I could do this as well if I really wanted to. Now, there's a couple of ways. You could just extrude from a cube to make this, but you also want things to intersect, and you want to build things like, especially with furniture, like flat pack furniture, because what happens is you start to get natural creases and bevels, and also when you do SSAO, it starts to have a nice like ambient occlusion, like shadow pass, when it's intersecting like this. So sometimes it's good to have intersecting geometry, and other times it isn't. For this, I would personally just let me just tidy this up a minute. Actually, so yeah, so I'd personally have this so it's sitting on top of the desk here, instead of trying to make it bigger like this. So I mean, one way you could do it is this. So I select those faces, left click shift, extrude the faces, do it that way. Now the problem with that is there's a snapping tool. So did you notice that that step stack was on? Which is not what I want. So you could do it that way, but again, it's quite messy, and I would need to clean this up as well. At the moment, it's not too bad because, like I said, I'm just building it, and I will go through optimization with you in another video. So if I grab that. Not like that. So the tool I'm going to use now is Target Weld Tool, and what that allows me to do is it just allows me to weld these vertices together, because they're not doing anything. You'll notice when I merge them, it doesn't change the geometry or the silhouette of what I just made. Okay, but the problem with this is now it's all connected, and I'm not going to get the bevels that I want from it. So the other way of doing it is by having another box sit in front of it like this. Now if you notice as well, my history has started to get bigger, so if I delete the history, there we go, and if I try and put this in, probably doesn't line up now. So what I can do is, if I just move that out of the way, I can go into the different views like this one, select the vertices that I want and just drag them in. Let me just reset the tool as well, because the step snapper was on. There you go. And then if I look at it from the back as well, you can see that it's coming out the back. So I just bring this in, and I've got my first drawer. I'd say it's a bit too big on the front as well. Okay, so if I just center that, you see that I've built that quite quickly. So I've got my drawer, and the best thing with this is actually, so if I just delete these, is I could just duplicate these. And if I've got wireframe on, I can just resize them. Just make sure I've got the right one. So if I want this to be smaller, I'm just changing the pivot there. Most of the time they go halfway in between things, and then I just do that and just bring this slightly down. One button I haven't shown is this, which is the see-through mode, which allows me to see what I'm selecting. There you go. And do that. And yeah, I've got my first set of drawers quite quickly by just extruding them. And yeah, that's actually probably a better way of doing it in terms of thingy. Now, I'm just going to hide this. Okay. So, once I'm happy, I could then... So I've got my set of drawers already, so I've shaped them. So to create this, I would need to build another box. So if I just start off with another cube, just make it slightly bigger, and then snap it to here, I can then shape it around the actual drawers. But the problem with this at the moment is that it's missing the actual drawers. So it wouldn't look right if I was to say you had it, that you could pull that all the way out, and it's like, yeah. So if we just move that off to one side so we can see it. Okay, so to begin with, what I need to do is I'm going to use something called the Insert Edge Loop tool. And if we click on here, that allows me to insert an edge loop. Okay, now I'm going to use the see-through mode to do this, and if I double click on this edge loop, it will select the whole edge loop. So left click, double click. So I want it around there, and I want it around there. Okay, I'll do the same with this one, so I'll move this down. So I double clicked on it. Just add a new one in as well. The top one. I'm kind of lining it up with that, and I could, if I hold V, snap this to the verts. I'm just holding V to do that, which is pretty cool. Do the same with this one, hold V, and just make sure it snaps to that point there. So that's my construction lines for that, but also drawers don't tend to be, you have a bit of a line here. So, yeah. And same with that one as well. So this is why it's better to do the drawers first, because then you can build this bit here. And also as well, I'm going to put a line, and I'm pressing G to repeat the tool. I'm just going to put a line at the back as well. Okay. So if I press H to hide these, and just come off the see-through mode, what I can do is there. Okay, and if I just go back into my outliner and unhide these, you'll notice when I pull them out, I've got my, yeah. Now, if I just pull these completely out so I can see this. Now, I'm just going to select these vertices. So select them. I'm just going to pull it inwards. Same with this one. And then with the top one, they're a bit too thick and chunky. Okay. So if it goes back, I'm holding V to do this as well. Okay, so I've got my first set of drawers. You can quite quickly build these using this method. There's a couple of different methods as well, and I'll show you one of those in the next video. I accidentally pressed it. If you press Q, it'll cancel the last tool that you used, so that's quite good. I'm just going to delete the history there and freeze the transformations. So I've got my drawers.
In the next video, we're going to look at Maya's bevel tool and also merge tool and how to optimize the mesh. So I'll see you in the next video. If you like this video and want to see more, we have a range of videos on our YouTube channel covering topics from programming to art, and eventually we'll have animation tutorials on this site. If you'd like to support us, you can subscribe and like. And if you want to have early access to these videos, have a say on what topics are covered, and also have access to the source code and art assets from this series and other series, please visit our Patreon. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week with a new video.